Assalamu alaikum, and it's your host Imi Asker again. And today we're going to be discussing and previewing the New Zealand versus Pakistan series due to start later this week. Uh, I've got three guests with me. Before I come to my guests, Pakistan back in action again. So definitely we're probably the side that's played the most since this pandemic has started. It's our third or fourth series now. Um, so definitely the one that's been most in action. But uh, a tour that has been historically good for us, surprisingly, where most teams struggle, New Zealand. So, first of all, let's meet the guests. Dr. Akbar, how you doing?
Hello, Assalamualaikum. Yeah, thank you very much. Good to see everyone.
Abdullah, how's everything?
Well, everything's fine, thank you very much, and looking forward to Friday.
Yep, Pakistan, looking sharp.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Yeah, I can't wait. It feels like it's been so long without watching Pakistan play cricket. Yeah, I can't wait till Friday morning.
Yeah, definitely. So it'd be like first thing in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning for us. Pakistan, that's still quite early. I think it's around about 10, 11. Yeah, 5 hours, 11. So early series, but one that's historically been really, really good for us. We've all got some really good memories with New Zealand because surprisingly enough, I mean, like, take the T20s away for a second, even though we're only going to talk about T20s today, but even in test matches, New Zealand has always been quite kind to us. I mean, we've all got good memories in New Zealand. Doctor, I mean, you just nodded your head there. You've definitely got good memories in New Zealand.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was it the Miss Plus? I think the Miss Plus series in 2010-11 that we won. I think we won 1-0 out there, or 2-1. I think in that series. It's interesting. You can kind of split it though, because there's kind of pre-2010 where I grew up watching Pakistan beat New Zealand in World Cup semi-finals, T20 semi-finals, and you just get used to them kind of just rolling over for us. But actually, since 2010, 2011, they've given us. I mean, certainly in the Emirates and in New Zealand, they've had the upper hand. Apart from obviously the last T20 series that we managed to win over there, 2-1. So historically, growing up, yeah, definitely a team that you kind of always felt Pakistan would beat. They've obviously improved a heck of a lot in the past few years. So I guess it probably makes them favourites going into Friday and beyond.
Yeah, we're getting home advantage as well, because we're going to go into our squad in a little while, Abdullah, but there's a few people there who have not toured New Zealand before. It's quite a few, in fact, that, it's a pretty much quite a young side with the World Cup in view, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, I think a few of them have played the Under-19 World Cup in New Zealand in 2010, people like Usman Qadir. So even though they haven't played, they were the national team before, they've played some Under-19 World Cup cricket there. But as you mentioned, Pakistan have got a very dominant record against New Zealand historically. Mm-hmm. It's just in the last decade that things have changed. Between 1985 and 2016, Pakistan went 30 years without losing a test series to New Zealand. So
I saw that record earlier today.
Yeah. So things have only changed in recent times, with New Zealand winning the previous 2 test series against Pakistan.
Mm-hmm. And they've still been close, haven't they? If you look at it historically, they've always quite been close. A lot of 1-0s in there. It's a lot of 1-1s in there as well. It's like it's been always a very, very close series, which is surprising. Pakistan, what Abdullah just mentioned, I remember that you've discussed it a few times, and we've actually discussed it a few times. Back in the 90s, I think it was 92, and Vakar and Wasim were playing, and we actually won a series there. That was my highlight of New Zealand overall.
Yeah, I remember that one. So I think that was after the World Cup that we won. I think it was towards the end of the 92-93 season. We went into the fourth innings. We needed to get them out for about 130 odd, I think. They were about 70-80 for one, and then Waqar Wasim did their magic, and they just blew them away for about 90 odd, I think, all out, and we won that series. I think it was either 91 to 92 or the 92-93 series, but that was just amazing. And again, that's my memories I have of New Zealand over in the 90s and obviously the 92 semi-final. But as Abdullah has mentioned, in recent times it's changed. New Zealand at home are a force to be reckoned. They're currently the number one test squad as well. They have a home advantage. I think it's going to be a really good series and a really good test for our young squad. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's not forget, they came to the last two series they've had in the Emirates as well. They got the draw in 2014, I think, when they battered us in the second test. And obviously, I've still got scarred memories from the last test series where they somehow beat us 2-1, which should never have happened. So not only are they good at home, but they travel pretty well. So it's going to be a really, really tough assignment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Omar says, salam guys, welcome salam. So let's just look at the New Zealand squad quickly. Surprisingly, with some of the names there, I was actually a bit surprised. There's a couple there, I was like, who? But it's because it's such a big squad and they've named it like, some players only going to play game 1, some are going to play game 2 and 3. So, and then some are for every game. But just look at the squad. Santner's going to be captain for the first game before Williamson returns for the next 2. Bracewell, who's only going to play the first game. Conway, Duffy's only going to play the first one. Guptill, I cannot say this guy's name. Kuglian?
Kugelheim.
Am I right? Kugelheim. Nisham, Philip, Cypher as a keeper. Sodi, Tickner. Bolt's going to play the last 2. Jameson's going to play the last 2. Mitchell the last 2. And Southey the last 2. But there's a few names, Doctor, there that are not the household like names that you would associate with like cricket lovers or even people who just watch cricket here and there.
Exactly. No, there's not too many there that are kind of high up in the world rankings and things like that. I mean, I've caught a little bit of the New Zealand West Indies stuff that's been on recently, and a lot of those players have played really well. Jameson especially looks really good. I'm just thinking, as a pessimistic Pakistani fan, who's going to be the next Marcus North or Kyle Abbott or Jackson Bird? One of these players that kind of has yet to do it on the Colin de Grandhomme.
He's not there. He's not there. Colin de
Grandhomme's not there. So you just wonder who's going to be, with respect, obviously they're being selected for their national team, so they're obviously good players, but you just wonder who's going to be the next one that comes from nowhere. I was reading somewhere, I think before we played New Zealand last time, I think they said they had no video footage of de Grandhomme before we played him, which doesn't say much for kind of analysis and kind of preparation. So yeah, hopefully it won't be the same again, but obviously, as you say, the big names, they'll come into kind of game 2 and 3. They're kind of the big fast bowlers. But I think it'll be a challenge nonetheless. I don't know what the other guys think.
Last one, squad 1-1. Yeah, Abdullah.
Sorry. Yeah, I was going to add, it's interesting that Ross Taylor hasn't made the 2020 squad. It seems that they're moving on from him in that form of the game.
Maybe New Zealand are taking a leaf out of our book and leaving the experienced guys behind.
Yeah, well, maybe, or with Taylor, it could be that they know what Taylor can bring to the table, and they maybe just saying, you know what, let's try some of the bench strength. Yeah, we're going into a World Cup, and let's see which players can actually perform and sort of stake their claim to go through. I think Ross Taylor is a big player for them, and he normally performs.
I mean, just reading the quotes though, when they lift him out of the squad, from what I could gather from the quotes, it wasn't kind of like he's our man, he'll definitely be there in the World Cup. It did seem a little bit more like we're just going to move away from Taylor and see kind of what else we've got. I mean, again, the Ross Taylor innings that comes to my mind anyway against us is the 2011 World Cup when he smashed us to all parts at the end of their innings. So he's usually a player, certainly from memory, that seems to do pretty well against Pakistan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pakistan, if you look at that squad, and you see Mitchell, you see Southey, you see Jameson, you see Bolt, you see Williamson, all returning for the second and third game. That makes Friday's game so important because they're going to have more of the inexperienced lads out there on Friday. Pakistan have to, if they're going to get something out of this series, they're going to have to win on Friday.
Yeah, it's a double whammy for the exact reason that you mentioned there, Imi. And also, it's just that psychological thing as well. It's a 3-match series. You want to go one up in this series just to give yourself a bit of a high as well. Because, as we've experienced in the past, if you go down straight away, then you're basically in a do or die situation. What you don't want to do is for us to hit the panic button and start chopping and changing with the selection then. You want to go into the first game, hope inshallah win that one, and then that just gives the team, the players that are selected, a bit of confidence, and they will hopefully get the second and the third game as well. But yeah, if you lose that first one when you got some of the big players not there, I'm just worried that we might be pressing the panic button. And also remember, I think by the end of the series, towards the end of the week, the new chief selector is going to be announced as well. So there's that on the side as well, that over the weekend, is the new chief selector going to want to dabble a little bit?
Yeah. Zaid Khan says Ross can play 2020 World Cup if Malik and Hafiz can also. Okay. We've got other comments as well, but we're going to come to the comments later. Abdullah, you wanted to add something there?
Yes. It's the choice of venue for Friday's game, Auckland. It's the tiny boundaries there. It's the type of ground where top edges fly for 6, edges fly for 6. And Pakistan have got good recent memories there. They won 2020 there in 2018, as well as 2016, and they beat South Africa there in the 2015 World Cup. So that will give them confidence returning to a venue they've had success on in recent trips to New Zealand.
Interesting. Let's move to the Pakistan.
It's good just to back up that point, Abdullah. So I like to do a bit of research from time to time if I'm not seeing patients. And the last 16 games in New Zealand, the last 16 T20s, and these are kind of between big countries. Anyone want to hazard a guess what the average first innings score is in T20s in New Zealand past couple of years?
I'll give it a go. 185.
160.
No, it's higher. I think it's closer to 200.
So it's 183, but not all of those games are 20 overs. So some of them were reduced games as well. So good guess, well, educated guess, obviously, in the first place. But again, it just shows small grounds. For me, it's about our batting needs to turn up. I'm sure we're going to go on to the squad now, with me, but this isn't the traditional kind of venue where we can have to chase kind of 140 or strangle a team out for 135. This is big boy stuff.
Yeah, and I was just watching the LPL just now, and the final. And I was surprised with some of the short boundaries there. And New Zealand, that's enormous compared to some of the New Zealand wickets. And even that, I saw one of the Azam Khan sixes. It literally just took it. And you're like, seriously? In Australia, that would have been out because on them big boundaries, you're not hitting sixes, just by flicking the ball. It's just not happening. But let's go to the Pakistan squad. Shadab, captain. He trained today as well, so I presume he's fully fit. Okay, we'll come to Barber in a second. I was just gonna get depressed when I said Shadab captain. Abdullah, Shafiq, Haider Ali, Hussein Talat, Iftikhar Ahmed, Hussein Shah, Muhammad Hafiz, Fahim Ashraf. What's that? Haris, Imad, Husnain, Musa, Shaheen, Usman, Wahab, Safraz, and Rizwan. So, basically, that's the Pakistan team. Doctor, first coming to you, when that team was announced, we had this big squad anyhow, but then some have gone towards the Shaheens. I think majority of the test players have gone that way. Was there any surprises with the ones that were left behind? Was there any names that you thought should have been here?
Yeah, mild surprise. I guess you would think Hussein Talat's probably a bit more geared up for 4-day cricket than he is T20s. And someone like Danish Hafiz is probably more, I think, a T20 player for me. And he's with the Shaheens. But then you've got to remember the Shaheens have got T20 games as well. So I wonder if maybe they didn't want the Shaheen T20 games just to be full of our experienced test players. So they almost kind of kept a few T20 players to one side. Apart from that, it's it's kind of, they split it kind of as I'd expect. Maybe a couple of changes in there, but by and large, pretty much expected. I don't know if the guys would agree.
Yep. I know the Shaheens are playing in a few hours. I know the Shaheens are starting a 4-day game in a few hours' time. Our time, of course.
Is that going to be live on YouTube? Or is it not? I think it is.
I think some highlights packages will be provided on their YouTube channel.
Right. Abdullah, were you surprised with any of the names, or you thought that was pretty much the squad from the 35 men that actually sort of travelled to New Zealand?
By and large, not many surprises. But one thing I'll mention here, I think Fakhar Zaman's absence is going to be a big blow. I think he's a better player on when there's pace on the ball and on faster wickets. And I think he would have enjoyed the short boundaries in New Zealand. I know he's not been in the greatest of nick of late, but I think he would have enjoyed this tour and the short boundaries and the faster pitches.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to ask you that question. I'm going to ask you something else. When Pakistan arrived, we had the positive tests and quarantine and everything else that went with that. So there's a lot of speculation. I'm not going to go into that. What happened has happened. Everyone had an opinion. Some people said it was harsh. Some people said it was absolutely fair. Whatever that was, that's not really what I want to discuss. But do you think that how much that might have took out the boys mentally?
So yeah, I mean, definitely the psychologically will play a part. I mean, you've heard the England campus saying that they're going to have to watch how many tours they go on in 2021 because psychologically, mentally, it's going to have an effect on the players itself. Now, there was a lot of speculation about what happened when the players got there, whether being confined to the room, whether even allowed out in the corridors, could they see each other, etc. But it's not the easiest of things. So just hoping that over the past few days we've seen pictures of them. They've been tweeting them out that where they've been going around town, basically. So that should be good for their mental health. And I'm just hoping that kind of helps them to come out of their shell, start training, get loose again. In the nets and stuff. So I'm just hoping that they've got past it. It's a past memory, and inshallah we'll see on Friday morning now.
I was going to add, because you were talking a minute ago about how important that first game was, and I agree with you. It's really important because New Zealand are obviously missing a few players. So that's my biggest worry, is that these guys have had all the negative press around them. They've been cooped up in really, really hard quarantine. They've had their every move scrutinised, rightly so, I guess, from a kind of a medical point of view. Pakistan are generally thinking back, we're quite slow starters on a tour. I think we're really up against it on Friday, even against a New Zealand team missing a few players. I think it's a massive ask to go from quarantine into squad games to first T20 with a young team as well.
Just I agree with you. We are traditionally slow starters, but I think that the way that the game's going now, in today's world, and if you have a look at the team, which I'm sure Amy's going to move on to shortly, is that there are quite a lot of young players in there. So that typical mindset that we have where we're slow starters, I'm just hoping that, with the PSL maturing over the past 3-4 years as well, now it's completely in Pakistan, that's going to help us to kind of come out of that kind of our shells, basically. I mean, that we're not going to be slow starters. We're young. The players are early 20s, and that's going to help us to kind of blitz our way and show everyone this is the new age. We've arrived now.
Omar, we've got a few comments. I'm going to quickly go on.
I was just going to add, I thought my name came up at the bottom of the screen, Abdullah and then Heather, but it's actually the players.
Yeah.
You got selected.
I've got a few comments. I'm going to read them quickly, but I'm going to come back to it later because some of them are the ones we're going to be discussing later. I think Omar, yeah, I think we're going to come back to this one later. I'm just going to quickly go through them. Suppose Shadab is fit to lead. Should we risk him or play him in the first one? We're going to discuss that as well. No Shaheen is playing today. Yep. No Shaheen is not playing today. No, he's not playing today. Shaheens are playing. The Shaheens are playing, not Shaheen, as in like the player.
Yeah.
The Shaheen as in the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuad Alam's going to boss it tonight. We'll see. Naseem Abbas and Ahmad are part of the Pakistan Shaheen playing the 4-day game today. Okay, so I'm going to start with myself first of all, and then I'm going to go through with you guys. I'm going to start with myself, and this is what I chose as my 11 for Friday. So it was Abdullah and it was Haider. So yeah, you are selected. You never got the joke. Shadab, sorry, Hafiz, and then Shadab. Then I had Talat, Khushdil, Imad, Rizwan, Haris Rauf, Shaheen, and Hasnain. So that's the 11 I've gone in with. I just think that without the explosive opener, as in Fakhr Zaman, I think we need to go with Haider Ali up front. And obviously, Barber not being there. I mean, that just depresses me. It's an injury, but, you know, it just depresses me not seeing Barber in that team.
Surely, respect both teams play with 10 men, just to respect the best T20 player in the world.
Well, yeah, and but they've got a few missing as well. You know what? I'm actually quite relieved here. One we haven't mentioned so far, Lockie Ferguson.
Yep.
You know what a bowler. The guy is a complete beast. Old school fast bowler. So the reason why I've gone for this sort of 11 is obviously with T20, as we were discussing off here, with me and Doctor were anyhow, that the players can, you know, rotate. You can like move them up and down, yeah, depending on the situation. You're not gonna have Rizwan coming out in the last 3 overs because it makes zero sense. But yeah, I've gone for this one. I think Shadab's best suited at 4. Talat at 5, and Khushdil to finish off at 6, and Imad at 7. And then you got the 3 fast bowlers, and you got a keeper. Sort of like you have to mix in a keeper somewhere. But from what I'm hearing, Rizwan will keep. Rizwan will be opening. That's what I'm hearing, and no Abdullah, which is a bit meh. But that's what we're hearing. So I'm gonna just go through your 11s as well. Doctor, your one first. Go through it.
I've nearly forgotten because it's been a while now. Okay, let's have a look. Let's wait for it to come back again. I think I wanted Hafiz to open.
You got the same 11 as me, but
I think so. Yeah, so I want Hafiz to open because I just want to break up the kind of the new kids on the block at the top. It kind of goes, you know, kind of stable blocker, stable hitter blocker, kind of alternate batsmen as you come down, so that you've got that flexibility. I would probably got Talat a little bit low there, but that's because I don't really see him as a natural T20 player. I see him more as a 4-day player. And the only thing possible change, just looking at my own team, the only thing I would maybe change is we can't, although we laugh about Iftikhar and we joke a little bit about him and experience and all that, he has actually, of all the formats he's done best in for us, I would say he played a couple of really good knocks for us in T20 cricket. So Iftikhar, I might potentially bring him in, but then it depends on do we need, his spin, Imad's spin, and Shadab's spin? Probably not. So I guess
not within short boundaries. I mean,
no, probably not.
I think he scored 102 the other day in a practice game amongst the whole squad of 48 balls. He's probably sewn up his space in the team anyhow. But I mean, we're not discussing what we think, guys who are watching. Put your 11 out as well. We'll discuss your 11s as well. But yeah. It's one of them. But you've got the same 11 as me.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone will have Hafiz opening. I just think the power play is where you obviously take most advantage of field being in and short boundaries and all that kind of stuff. And he is the guy in form for us to find the boundaries. No one's finding boundaries like him, as far as I can tell, in our squad recently. So that's why I guess it's like England putting Josh Buttler at top. Now, I'm not saying comparing Hafiz to Buttler, but you know what I mean? They put him at the top to give him maximum opportunity in the power play.
Sorry, your scores are different. Doctor, you've got Wahab, and Amy, I think you've got you had Hasnain. That was the difference between your squads.
Oh, yeah. I didn't actually realize that. Okay, but now Hawkistan, I'm going to go for your one. And your one's definitely the same as me because I was just looking at your one just now. I'm thinking, what are we doing? Like copy each other's 11s.
Yeah, so
You actually got the same one as me.
so I've gone with the firepower at the top, the young firepower. As I say, that we have to put our trust into the youth. Now we can't keep just dancing around the subject. When are we going to let them break out onto the international scene? So I've got Abdullah and Heather at the top, and then I was umming and ahhing about where to put Hafiz, to put him 3 or 4, and I put Shadab at 3 because I was quite surprised. I first realized in the England series during the summer that Shadab bats. He's middle order, and then I think for his PSL squad, he actually he bats higher up the order. So I've given him 3 because we're going to lose a wicket in the power play. So I want Shadab to come and keep the scoreboard ticking. Then you got Hafiz, the Talat, Khoshtil to keep the scoreboard ticking. Got Rizwan and Imad there, meaning that you bat all the way down to 8, and then I've gone with the 3 pace, Shane Hasnain and Rauf. I was 50-50 about whether to bring in Usman Qadir. I really, really, really wanted to play him. I've loved watching him bowl the little bits I've seen of him, but I just think that we've already got a couple of spinners at the moment where you got Shadab and Imad as well. I didn't really want to play 3 spinners, so I left it as 3 pace on there, but it's jam-packed with youth there. I think that with regards to Iftikhar, whether or not we'd play him down the road in the second or third game, I just wouldn't, because if we need to have someone else like another all-rounder or a batsman or a bowler, I think that there are other players in the squad that I would jump to. The reason I'm saying this is that whoever you play now, you're looking forward to in a year's time into the 2020 World Cup if Pakistan go to it. Whoever you play now, you have to realistically think, I'm going to play them against the Australias, against the Englands, against the West Indies. So
I love how you got that little part in there. If we go in there, if we go there.
We're going to do a full show just about that, mate.
I know, we have to. But then Abdullah has got his 11. And
yes.
There is still Abdullah Haider there, but it's a different Abdullah Haider because there is no Abdullah Shafiq in this 11.
Yes. So I'm going to open with Safraz because if you recall in the 2015 World Cup, he was man of the match against South Africa at the venue. So he's going to open up for me. I want him to get involved, not just lurk around at 7 and 8 and just play the T20s. And Rizwan, he's going to be as an outfielder. We saw him take a great catch in the National 2020 that I'm sure you've all seen. And I'm not risking a second spinner because of the short boundaries. So I'm just going to go with this single spinner in Imad Wasim. And for me, he captains the team. I think he's more of a ready captain at this stage than Shadab. And for me,
Shadab is your vice captain, though. So if he's fit, he plays.
He plays, that's right. But for me, I think Imad would be a better option. He's already proven his worth winning the PSL, whereas Shadab's team didn't even make it to the playoffs. So I think it's too early to promote him to vice captain, and I think they've gone to that step far too early.
Abdullah, can I ask why not Hafiz, if you don't mind me asking?
Yes, I've moved on from. I'm not going to pick a 40-year-old for a 2020 international.
You got Iftikhar though.
Yep, and you mentioned the 2020 World Cups. There are actually 2 of them back to back. So I'd rather we invest in players who can not just play one tournament, but can play 2 tournaments and serve us for both of those tournaments.
I think that
Interesting.
Sorry, just to ask a question. You mentioned about Safraz there. That I think he got man of the match in 2015. I think in one of the games there. I think it's dangerous to pick players on something that they did 5 years ago. We should be basing it on.
That's right. Yeah. But this is a bit of an emergency in terms of no Barber, no Fucker, and we're limited on options. That's why I've gone down the Safraz route.
But that doesn't like sort the problem out like long term, because once Barber's back here, whoever the keeper is, right? I'm going to discuss the keeper now because we're at the keeper, right? It doesn't sort any problem out for the keeper long term, because whoever the keeper is not going to be opening the batting. We just don't have a keeper made for T20 cricket. We just don't have a keeper.
I agree. Shouldn't we just have the best? Shouldn't we just have the best keeper then, who can actually catch? Would be my opinion.
I agree with that. I would rather have a wicket keeper who scores 0 every single game. I know that's controversial. I've always said I don't care what format it is. I want the keeper to be 100%. I don't care how many runs he gets. Ideal world, yeah, you want someone like a Gilchrist or a Sangakkara. I completely get that. But as a base though, you want someone who can keep. And when Rizwan was keeping over here in England, yeah, I don't need to tell you guys how much the commentators were raving about him. I don't think there's any reason, to take the gloves off Rizwan. He's not doing a single thing wrong to take the gloves off. It's nothing against Afraz, but Rizwan is a brilliant keeper. Fine, even if you put him as number 11 batsman, I'd be happy with that, as long as he's in the squad and he's keeping. I'm not going to change that for anyone. Sorry.
Me and Doctor, before you guys come, and then before we went on air, we actually, in about 5 minutes, we covered about 3 subjects. And one of the subjects we already covered was the keeper. And I understand both point of views. You need, in T20 cricket, you need a keeper that can actually bat. And ideally, if he can bat as an opener, it sorts a lot of issues out for your team. It gives you a better balance. But we don't have that, so that's out the equation. Yes, I understand your keeper. I mean, dropping a Kohli or a Warner will cost you more than, if a player scores 20 or 10 balls. Yeah, because they will hurt you more than that. But as long as the keeper is able and doesn't make howlers like Kamran Akmal did, it's one of them where I look at it and say, do we just go for the guy who is the better bat? I'm not sure Sarfraz is the answer to that as well. Me and Doctor were just discussing it, and we're like, don't know who. Azam Khan is probably the best batsman out of the lot right now, but
he's not a keeper.
I look at his fitness, and I see his keeping, and it's very, very average. And I look at his fitness, and all it takes is, I remember watching a Kohli video a couple of weeks ago. Someone tweeted it out. So it's Kohli speaking there, and Kohli spoke about milliseconds. He said, if I was weighing X amount, right, me to run from here to the ball for a high catch would take me X amount. If I was weighing X amount, it would take me, and it was like a millisecond. But then he tried to explain that millisecond made all the difference for me to take that catch. So that's emphasizing fitness. And Azam Khan is like the last person you look at when you talk about fitness. I don't know. I'm confused. Any of you have any solutions here?
The thing is that when you look at Azam Khan, and I've seen it on social media, people say, "Oh, he smacks 6s and 4s all over the place," and that's brilliant. But the thing is that even if you're playing a 5-over game, it's not just about boundaries. You have to be able to run back and forth between the wicket. Now, I think there was a time earlier on in the year where he did lose the way, and I'm not taking anything away from him as a batsman. Okay, I'm sure he's got a lot of potential there, but people are pushing him to be a wicket-keeper batsman. He's only batting, so why don't people push him to be a batsman? You can't try and slip him in as a wicket-keeper batsman. I've only seen him keeping, I think, in one game in the Lanka Premier League, but I just can't understand how you can just say that wicket keeping. Oh, we don't even care about that. Let's just shove Azam Khan in. He hits a few boundaries. Let's just put him in there. You need to be able to score a lot of your runs through singles and doubles. And if you can't do that, you're not going to be hitting 6s and over. I'm sorry, but that dreamland just doesn't exist.
Omar has his 11 though. Rizwan to open, Haider at 2, Shadab 3, Hafiz, Hushtail, Iftikhar, Imad, Usman Qadir, Shaheen, Rauf, and Wahab. So he's gone with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 specialist bowlers plus Iftikhar and Hushtail who can bowl and Hafiz who can bowl. That's like a team. I just think it might just be one batsman too light.
Why? Obviously, we've got Umar here, and we've got the selectors as well. Apparently, why are so many people keen for Rizwan to open? Because none of us have got Rizwan opening in our teams. It'd be interesting if someone wants to reply in the comments.
In the national T20.
Yeah, but I don't. But his strike rate in the national T20 was about 128, 130, something like that. I was reading.
That would be my issue because if he batted long, and Abdullah, I'll let you take this. If he batted long, or if Safraz was the opener, and Safraz batted long, their traditional batting capacity is that 120 to 130 mark in strike rate ability. Now, if you've got Babar Azam next to them, you're basically putting the pressure on Babar Azam to be saying you're the one who's got to bat quicker. And before we know it, we might be 10 overs in, but be 50 for no wicket. It just doesn't work. I don't know. That's me.
No, I agree with you that we don't have an explosive wicket-keeping option in 2020 who can really take the game by the scruff of the neck and put pressure on bowlers. Neither Rizwan or Safraz are those sort of players. I mean, Rizwan doesn't even get into his PSL franchise, Karachi Kings. They prefer to play Walton. So, I mean, we all don't have any options really. I think it's just these two. There was some talk about the wicketkeeper who's playing for the Multan Sultans in the PSL this year. Zishan, I believe his name was. He was a left-handed opener.
Zishan Ashraf, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
But that talk seems to have died down a bit now as well. So limited options.
Again, like he's quite explosive, but there's definitely flaws in his batting technique, and then basically when you go up that one level, you get exposed quite easily. Mansoor Ayub, Abdullah Shafiq, Haider Ali, Mohammad Hafiz, Shadab Khan, Hushdir Shah, Imal Wasim, Safraz Ahmed, Wahab Riyaz, Usman Qadir, Haris Rauf, and Shaheen Shah. So a lot of people are including the three spinners here. Yeah. So let's see. Which one.
Internationally, what's the highest that Shadab has batted for us that we can remember? Because some people have got him at 2 and 3. Maybe I'm just forgetting, but when has that happened that he's batted that high for us ever?
He's only done it for the northern side, and he's done it for Islamabad United, and he's doing it for his franchises when he plays franchise cricket. I think everyone thinks that now 4 is his best position, and he gives the team a better balance. If he's a sort of player, if he bats long, if he gets overs to bat, he can sort of get into it, but.
It's a step up from domestic to playing away in New Zealand when you're just coming back from injury. I'm not. I think I had him at 5 or 6, and I know the comments are saying that he was in the PSL. I know he's batted a bit higher up, but I think there's a few people who've got Shadab a bit higher than he should be. But anyway, it's a matter of opinion, isn't it?
Mansour also says Shadab captained well in the T20 Cup, though. He did. So that's that. Let's just carry on with some of the comments, and we'll come back to. Even though Hafiz is 40 years old, he's the best batsman after Babar to come to the squad. That's for you, Abdullah, I guess.
Yeah. Chris Gayle is aged 41, best 2020 batsman ever. Where even West Indies are not considering him anymore. Looking ahead to the 2020 World Cup.
He's not
Imran
now, though.
We're Pakistan, man.
Chris Gayle isn't putting the performances in now, whereas if you look at Hafiz's record for Pakistan, currently he is.
Yeah. No, I saw Chris Gayle in the second half of the IPL. He still had it. He was rolling back the years and striking the ball cleanly. And
I never watched the IPL, so I won't have a clue.
Huh?
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that? This wasn't working.
Where's the filter?
Sorry. Yeah. So another example is Imran Tahir. He's also 41. And South Africa are looking beyond him, even though he's a prolific bowler in the white ball cricket. So I think there's a limit for age in 2020s, and it's time to look towards the future and those back-to-back 2020 World Cups.
Abdullah, if I can just come back, I agree, and we can't be hypocrites here. We bang on about youth all the time whenever we're on this show about how you should give youth a chance. The only thing I would say, if he's not performing, like for example, like Malik hasn't been performing, then yeah, those players have a really low threshold to get rid, because you think you're not performing now, so you're probably not going to perform in the future. I think it sends a really bad message if you drop your most informed batsman internationally. And let's be honest, it's basically 2021 now. So there's a World Cup this year, essentially. So we're in World Cup year. I just don't think, unless you communicate it really well, which the PCB are not very good at, I don't think it's a good look if we drop Hafiz. I think he's there, he's performing. Maybe the mistake might have been to pick him in the first place, but now that you've picked him, I don't think you can drop him. And that's why I have Wahab in my team, because again, I wouldn't have picked him initially, but now he's in the team, he's there, he's playing well. I think it's difficult. He's a difficult man to drop.
I actually had Wahab in the team, but then I went for Hasnain. But I would actually consider Wahab for games at least 2 and 3, because I'm of the strong opinion right now that we really need to take care of Shaheen, because we can't let him break down, and it's only so much a body can take. He's playing consistent cricket at the moment. He's not getting any rest. Mansoor again. Sarfraz brings leadership experience. He captained to us to 11 consecutive wins. He can advise a captain and play a pivotal role. I mean, we've got a couple of people. I think Sarfraz is quite experienced like that. Rizwan captains as well. Imad captains. Shadab is a captain. There's a few people in that team. Hafiz obviously is ex-international captain as well. So there's a few people out there who can, whoever the captain's going to be, which is probably going to be Shadab, unless he gets injured again. He trained yesterday, today.
Yeah, but on that though, if you bring us Sarfraz with his leadership experience, that's fine. He did a brilliant job as that. But then you're still getting rid of an awesome keeper, and I'm just not having that. That's why Rizwan has to play.
To be fair, Abdullah's got them both in his team, but then I guess you're not playing Hafiz, so I guess maybe that's why.
Yeah, I think that Rizwan has to be in as a keeper, and if you bring in Sarfraz, then effectively, have you got enough space in the team for both Sarfraz and Rizwan? Some squads might not, but if you're only having Sarfraz in there and you're taking Rizwan out, I'd love to see the justification for taking the gloves off Rizwan, because so far I haven't seen it from anyone.
Yeah. My justification would be who's the worst to have in the field, and clearly Sarfraz would be worse in the field than Rizwan, who's more athletic.
So that's a reason to have Rizwan as the keeper, isn't it?
No, as in
Rizwan play both.
More athletic to move around in the field and take catches and get involved in runouts.
I guess you're saying you can't hide Sarfraz. So I think
exactly.
You can't hide Sarfraz in the field, so you have him behind.
You know what? I'm struggling to fit one of them in the team. Do not think about fitting both. I'm struggling to fit one at the moment. I'm thinking, like, can we just not have a keeper?
You know what that's reminded me of? I think when we went to the West Indies a few years ago, we actually took Kamran Akmal not as a keeper, just as a batsman, and they put him out in the outfield fielding. No matter where they put him, and I remember Ramiz Raja joking about it on commentary as well, that wherever he goes, the ball's following him, and he just couldn't field at all.
I watched that because I was in Pakistan at the time. We were on holiday, so we're in Pakistan, and I was at my in-laws, and I said to them that I want to watch the game. So basically, they had to do this wiring up here to watch this game, to turn all the wires around. We had a TV, that small. So we put it on, and it was one of them TVs. If you move, if the TV's antenna moves a little bit, the picture goes. And I remember Ramiz Raja laughing about Kamran Akmal's fielding. And there was me just getting raged, and I couldn't say anything. And at one point, I go, "Big at it!" And at that point, everyone looked at me and thought, "I can't do this in front of my in-laws. I can't watch cricket in front of them again." But I don't know. But I keep issues there. I mean, you got Rahel Aziz with the Shaheens. I'm so seriously hoping Rahel can actually adapt into T20 cricket as well, because
he's not an explosive batsman in that sense.
Exactly,
he's more of a proper batsman.
Oh yeah, in You know what? We wouldn't even having this discussion. I wouldn't even allow the discussion to happen if it was Test cricket, even ODI cricket. I think Rizwan, for at least now, is head and toes above everyone else. But it's just T20 that I'm just unsure about. So yeah, guys, we've got loads of comments, but you know what? And everything's around this, but I want to move on, guys. Predictions, people in the comments, and people. Omar says a different Omar says Assalamu alaikum. Guys, predictions.
I'll go first.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry. 2-1 New Zealand, but Pakistan to go 1-up at Eden Park, where they enjoy playing.
2-1 New Zealand, but Pakistan to go to 1-up.
Yep. Pakistan to win in Auckland.
That's negativity out of the way. Anyone else?
You haven't heard my prediction yet.
Go on.
Okay, so honestly, of course, I want us to win 3-0. Honestly, 3-0 New Zealand. There might be a couple of close games, but I'm sorry, guys, I'm not optimistic. Just because of if you look at the last 2 years, right? Who are the two batsmen you'd think of as being our best batsmen in T20 cricket on these batting tracks? Babar, Fucker. Neither of them there. It might be a good learning experience, and I hope it is, obviously, for some of the young players. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to win. Hope I'm wrong.
Pakistan, for the love and the sake of chicken biryanis and roasts and your salan and whatever else, please give me the positivity.
I'll give New Zealand a chance, but I'm going for a 2-1 win for Pakistan. Easy. We're going to win the first game. The big boys are going to come back for New Zealand in the second game, so they're going to win that. It's going to go down to a decider, and Pakistan win. You know, what do we need to have in the team, to give us that confidence that we're going to win? Yeah, it's a young team, but you know, even if you go back 5-10 years, New Zealand are a really good team, but we're not that bad either. Everyone that we've got in the team at the moment, Abdullah, Heather, Shadab, etc., they're on the cusp now, and they have to break out into the team somehow. You can't expect them to break out against Zimbabwe's or the Zimbabwe's or the Bangladeshis. This is the stage. Do or die. Back your players. I back them all the way. 2-1.
Sorry, just to answer a question at the bottom of the screen. Imran Tai has retired. That's from ODIs. He's still available for selection for T20s, and South Africa don't pick him.
And just a quick one, just a quick one on New Zealand, because I know obviously we are saying they're a good team, and they are. But this time last year, India went there and beat them 5-0 in a T20 series. England have beaten them in a T20 series, so they're not, completely impregnable. They are, you can get at them. India chased about 200 and won the game, so it's doable.
Doctor, I think what you're saying is that you want to change your prediction now. Then,
yeah, 3-0 Pakistan. Yeah.
Right, me. Head says 3-0 Pakistan. Sorry, the heart says 3-0 Pakistan. The head, I'm not sure. I'm going to go with 2-0 Pakistan and 1 to be washed out. No one thought about that, did they? But yeah, look, Mansoor Ayub says 3-0 whitewash Pakistan, inshallah. I mean, I would love that. 2-1 Pakistan. Zaid, you know what? Abdullah's in an argument right now. Go on. What about Gelman?
No, sorry. This was in reference to my comment. No, I think he's been the best batsman historically in 2020 cricket. But even they're looking beyond him now as far as West Indies are concerned. So I use that as an example as to why Hafiz shouldn't be in Pakistan's 2020 team anymore. I know he's performed, but I believe 2020 is for youngsters, and you can't just pick a 40-year-old just to play 2020 cricket, just to carry him around on tours, just to play 2020 cricket.
I think, I think just to build on that Chris Gayle thing, if anyone's seen Chris Gayle play in the past 2 years, he can't run. The guy just can't run. He's there basically his aura and his invincibility and to hit boundaries, but he cannot run at all. If you saw him in I think 2019 World Cup,
I saw that I think in the 2011 World Cup right? The ball went right past him, and he's standing at mid-on. No, sorry, it wasn't 2011. He was captain. This was actually in West Indies, but around that sort of time, around 10 years ago or so, and he was captain, and he's standing off at mid-off, and the ball went literally past him, and he turns around, looks at it, and thought, I can't be bothered, and he just pointed at the fielder next to him and went, "Go and get it, boy. Go and get that. I'm not moving." From a Pakistani attitude. You know what? We've got the best comment in the world here right now. But before I'm going to go to that, guys, if I'm not following you on Twitter, at me on Twitter, and then I can follow you guys back here. Because there's a lot of people that I don't follow. Hence, but I'm happy to follow everyone that is on here. But yeah, I've got the best comment going at the moment.
Not sure about that.
Let's discuss it.
We know you got both of them cooking at your house tonight, and me anyway.
We've got chicken curry getting made right now, and I ate last night. So as soon as I go down in about 10 minutes, oh my god, is I getting food? It's gonna get absolutely killed.
I think that, sorry, just before we move on here, just to talk about biryani, just going back to the Hafiz thing. If you remember over the summer, I was one of his biggest critics. I was saying that why have Hafiz, why have Malik both in the squad? But, I hold my hand up. Hafiz has turned it around. He's putting in the performances. So I completely get where Abdullah and a lot of other people are coming from, that we need that, like Doctor says, we always say that we need to invest in youth as well. Why would you have Hafiz in the squad now if you're looking forward to, in 10 months' time, or even in 18, 20 months' time as well, to the next World Cup? But I just think that he hasn't done anything to drop him yet, and he has been performing. So it's not as if, and before, when you had Hafiz and Malik, you were looking at, a combined age of what? 70, 80 years old and stuff, but we've taken them out. So to have one person in there just to kind of try and hold the innings together, and if his form drops and he has a string of single digits and stuff, then fair enough, kick him up. But I just think at the moment, form. You can't take him out. I mean, Doctor, I've seen you on Twitter where you said that, what was that quote? You said that form is temporary, class is permanent. And I remember you saying that you hated that quote, and I agree with you on that. You can't pick someone based on something they did 10 years ago. You got to pick them on what they're doing now. And now Hafiz is performing really well. And maybe that's a kick up the backside to all the other players. Look, there's this 40-year-old. He's playing much better than us. Maybe we need to lift our game.
One caveat I will add is that during that England series, England weren't necessarily playing their first choice bowling attack. The likes of Archer and Wood were rested for that series. So we perhaps didn't really get to see him tested against England's full strength. Although he did perform, and you can't take that away from him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a good point. I mean, it's just all a matter of opinions. I mean, at the moment, I would have. I see the door opening from behind. The awkward moment. I would have Hafiz in at the moment. Malik is like definite no. Though he scored, I think, 46 today in the LPL final. He scored 46 off 35 balls, I think. But I mean, you know what? I'm not going to even think about that one. Definitely not going to even think about that. So that's that. We should be back on Friday evening for another show. Let's see what actually happens with Pakistan and New Zealand first game. As I think we all will agree, Pakistan have to win that. The first one, it's a must win because without with them missing so many players, it's going to be the most important game of the series for us. If we can get off to a flying start, then we might actually get something out of it.
The series that we won there a couple of years ago, did we not go 1-0?
Abdullah,
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So,
and that was after we lost the ODIs 5-0 as well, and then went down to the T20s.
Horrible tour. And was it probably after the Test series? It was 2-0, I think, or did the Test series come after? I can't remember now.
Sorry, last time it was just a white ball tour in 2018.
Okay, fine. What was the 2-0 Test series win? Was that 20 or maybe it's a different year?
2016, just before they went to Australia.
We lost 10 wickets in a session, essentially, didn't we? I think on that second Test.
Yeah. I think it was 9 actually. Yeah, but
9 and 10.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. All 10. I think you're right. It was all 10.
You know what? We've done remarkably well. Yeah, we've gone 55 minutes. Yeah, and not one of us is actually broken down in tears thinking about Babar Azam. You know what a massive loss. What was it? Pakistan 23%, was it? Earlier on that stat.
Oh yeah. I think it was a little 20. Yeah.
Since his debut, I think it's 23% of total Pakistan T20 runs have been scored by Babar Azam. It was 1/4 of our team, batting wise.
I have to be honest. I'm so fussed that he's missing the T20s, but we knew him in the Test series. That's the big one, isn't it? And I don't think he's going to be fit for that. If he's broken his thumb, he's going to really struggle.
Come on, doctor, can't you send him some magic medicine or something?
Yeah,
exactly. Come on, man.
The magic spray out there, yeah. Oh, I wish.
On a positive note,
sorry, I think Bill wanted to say, yeah.
So on a positive note, slightly off topic, but on a positive note, we finally got crowds back for a Pakistan series that was missing in England and missing in the home series against Zimbabwe, which is going to be refreshing to watch. Some atmosphere in the stadiums.
The New Zealand West Indies, that the whole bank was just full of people. It was brilliant.
Yep.
So good to watch. And the Australia game as well.
Talking about crowds, we booked quite a few tickets for next summer, apart from Lord's. Every single ground, we've done more than 50 for every ground. And I think Edgbaston and was it Cardiff have now not Cardiff, sorry, Edgbaston and Leeds are now sold out, and they've emailed people saying that we're sold out, do not apply again. Edgbaston's put it on Twitter bio. Pakistan picked it up earlier. England versus Pakistan, sold out. That's their bio on Twitter. They're basically saying, don't contact us no more. We've had enough of this. But remarkable. And basically, we contacted Edgbaston again today because I had about a request for about 30 tickets, just today. And I'm like, okay, we'll find out. We contacted them and they said, absolutely no chance. But they put us on priority. So if someone doesn't buy them off the ballots, they've won them, but they don't pay for them, then we come as priority and we'll get them tickets first before anyone else. So talking about fans, I can't wait for next summer.
Yep. On that, isn't it interesting that Pakistan haven't won an ODI series in England since 1974?
Is it that long?
Sure. Yes.
Because just on the top of my head, not that I'm thinking of these defeats, but we should have, in 2001 we had that Test series where we beat England in every game. So I'm taking that as a 3-0 win. And then I think it was 06. Well, I think we went 1 or 2-0 up. The series where you got 100 down at Southampton. We should have won that series, and even the 3-2. In the match fixing tour 2010, we got it back to 2-2 and lost the decider. So there's been a lot of hard luck stories against England in ODI cricket. So let's hope we can change it. It's a 3-3, isn't it? 3 T20s, 3 ODIs.
Which one hurts me the most? I think it's 96, and Nick Knight got hundreds against us. So how do we let Nick Knight hit hundreds against us, especially with that bowling attack that we had back then? But there we are. There we are. So that's that. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much. There's one last question that's come in. It says, should Imam be considered for T20 as a wicketkeeper? No.
It's what says what? Sorry.
Last question about Imam.
Oh yeah. So I saw that one. So should Imam be considered for 2020s as wicketkeeper? When Imam is better than Rizwan as a wicketkeeper, then fine. Until then, he's got to find some other way to get into the team. Full stop. I ain't losing that. I'm not getting off my perch about the wicketkeeper for anyone.
He doesn't sort any problem out as well as a T20 batsman. He doesn't sort the problem out either, does he? Though
the keeper is sacrilegious.
But yeah, there we are. Guys, we're done. I'm not taking anything more yet. But yeah, thank you, Doctor, for joining.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Abdullah.
Thank you. Enjoy the series.
We'll do. And thank you, Hulkistan. We'll be back like during the series. I'm not sure if we're going to cover every game or not, but it will be a lot later than when the games finish, because when the games do finish, it's literally the start of our day where we wake up early and then we go into work, and that'll be literally start of our day. So it will be much more later than that. Let's hope for a good series and a series victory. Again, thank you guys for watching, and as we always say at the end, Pakistan
Zindabad!